Hey guys, so I'm back with another video, and this time I'm going to be talking about my experience as a medical scribe. I was a medical scribe for a little over 2.5 years, almost 3 years, and then I got into PA school. I have been in PA school for about 7 months now. The only experience that I had that was paid was my medical scribe experience. I eventually did become a medical scribe trainer, and so yeah, I'll talk all about it. So as a medical scribe, you basically get to accompany a physician to see all the patients. I worked in the ER, the emergency room, so I got to accompany these physicians with my walking laptop, and we went to see patients together while the doctor or PA was talking to the patient. I would be documenting, and I would be documenting in a electronic medical record, or EMR. And basically the physician or the PA would ask for a history, and I would write my own HPI, the history of present illness, and I would write basically why they're there, what made them come into the ER, and then do the family history, social history, medical problems, and kind of like fill out the whole note for them. The only thing that I wouldn't really do was the medical decision making, which is basically the thought process of the clinician, and that would be dictated to me. So the clinician would tell me, patient presents with this and this and this, we did this kind of workup, and this is what we found in the end. So that stuff, I obviously don't have any of that experience because I'm not a clinician. So the provider would dictate to me, and I would type. As a scribe, another thing that you do is you report to the providers when certain lab values come back. You kind of learn what to keep a lookout for. So for example, if someone is coming in with chest pain, they have a lot of the symptoms of a heart attack, then as a scribe you should know to keep track of troponin, certain cardiac enzymes, and the faster you can report that to the provider, the better the more trust that they have in you, and the better they feel about having you as a scribe, because they're so busy. They are seeing about 20 to 25 patients per shift in an 8-hour shift, and you're there to kind of ease their job. As a medical scribe, you do have to be pretty good with your typing skills, good enough to be able to catch what they're saying, what the providers are telling you in a speedy amount of time, making less errors, and also not having the provider repeat to you what they are telling, because that's the worst. You don't really want your provider to not have faith in you, not have trust that you can catch up to what they have to say. So you do need to know your medical terminology, because a lot of what they use is medical terminology, and you need to know when to research things and when to ask them about things. Always clarify if you don't know something. So if it's something that you've never heard before and you really don't want to butcher up how to spell it, and you don't really know how to even pronounce it to look it up, then always clarify, because you don't want to put in information that isn't there. So make sure that you're doing that. And so yeah, so that was basically what a medical scribe does. I work solely in the ER. I got to accompany PAs, nurse practitioners, medical doctors, and our hospital was a busy hospital. We were actually in partner with 3 different hospitals, so we got to rotate through all 3 of them. I saw one of the hospitals was more of like older population, so I got to see a lot of fractures, I got to see a lot of falls, brain bleeds, things that are common with the older population. And there was another hospital that had people who were mostly on government medical insurance, so they weren't able to see their doctor till 2-3 weeks later, and they had to come in because they had a cold, they had a cough, they were not feeling good. And then our third hospital, we got to see a lot of psychiatric patients because it was right next to a psychiatric facility. So we got to see a lot of patients who were on 5150 holds, which is a medical hold for psychiatric evaluation. And it's a 72-hour hold till you're cleared by a psychologist. So we got to see a bunch of different things. I've seen everything from delivery. I've seen pregnant moms come ready to deliver, and we don't even have time to take them up to the labor and delivery unit, and they have the baby in the ER. I've seen gunshot wounds. I've seen, the everyday suturing, the laceration repairs, and so I've seen pretty much a lot of things, and it's amazing. I've seen different procedures, such as incision and drainage, thoracentesis, so you'll learn all about that. And it's a really, really fun, cool experience. It is a very high pressure, high stress job. The providers really do depend on their scribes to keep them afloat. The pay is not so great. You do get paid, at least where I worked, I got paid minimum wage. As a scribe trainer, I got paid a little bit more, but it's, not as great as like EMTs. But you do get a lot of experience, You don't get hands-on experience. That's another downside. But you get a lot of thinking into the medical provider's head. Basically, you're in their thought process. You're writing what they say, how they interpret a patient that's coming in. So it's really, really cool stuff. So I highly recommend it. I think it's amazing experience. I've learned so much just from it. Another thing is that you get to hear the terminology used all the time, that you start to know what they are. And currently in PA school, I'm able to know what test to order when, because I just hear it all the time. I've just heard it all the time. And you also get to interact with a lot of different physicians and PAs, and they all have very different life stories, they have very different backgrounds, and they all love to teach. And they just have so much to say to you, and you learn so much that it's an invaluable experience. I applied to all the schools that accepted medical scribes as experience, patient care experience, even though I didn't have any hands-on experience. A lot of schools that I applied to didn't really count my volunteer hours. I volunteered at a local clinic, but they didn't really count it. So medical scribing was most of my experience, and I highly recommend it. Right now, the company that I work for is called Scribe-Vituity, and they always have different jobs or different positions that they're looking for, and they're always expanding. So I know that they have scribes for hospitalists and different specialties in the hospital. So if you don't want to per se work in ER because of how busy the flow is, you can find your niche and where you belong, and you don't really have to be worried about not being able to keep up, or just having this anxiety and stress of seeing someone die, seeing someone in respiratory distress, and so on and so forth. And what else? Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. If you guys have any other specific questions, please let me know. Aside from that, I highly loved my job, and I thought it was a great experience, and I'm in PA school, so it's definitely possible to get into PA school with only being a scribe. And yeah, so I'll see you guys in my next video.